Pokemon Day is around the corner, so you know what that means. It's time to predict what the next big Pokemon game is as accurately as possible. For the past 87 years, Pokemon has announced a big mainline Pokemon game or remake of a mainline Pokemon game on Pokemon Day. I expect the same to happen this year. I believe there are three potential ways this could go. They fall into three categories and we'll go one by one. A Pokemon Let's Go remake, a Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pearl type of remake, or a Pokemon Legends game. Of course, these will all fall into two categories, which is a Johto game or a Unova game. I'll explain why in a sec. With the current timeline of Pokemon releases, Gen 10 is definitely not coming until at least 2025, if not 2026. But we'll definitely be getting big games until then, and these are probably the games we'll be getting. But what would these games look like? Where will they take place? When will they take place? And what would the cover Pokemon be? I'll give you all that and more. Buckle up, we're about to accurately predict the next big Pokemon game. Starting with the one that I'm most confused by, and also falls into the release schedule the best, making it maybe the most likely, a Pokemon Let's Go remake. Now, I know about half of you threw a tomato at the screen when you heard the words Let's Go again, but hear me out. As much as I'm personally not a fan of the direction of the Let's Go games, it's definitely still on Game Freak's radar. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are the third best-selling Pokemon games on the Switch, only behind Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet. Pokemon Let's Go sold better than Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl and Pokemon Legends Arceus. So in terms of these spin-off-y type remakes, the Let's Go series definitely is at the top of Nintendo's priority list if they're looking at sales. So which Pokemon would be on the cover of a new Let's Go game, and what region would it be in? Now here's the part that makes a Let's Go game most convincing to me. If I asked you right now what the next Pokemon remake is, what would you say? Black and White? Well, if we look at Pokemon's release history, it's actually Gold and Silver. Pokemon's remake calendar isn't generation by generation, it's game by game. Let me explain. After Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire remade Gen 3's Ruby and Sapphire, what was the next remake after that? It wasn't Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, it was Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, a Gen 1 remake, not a Gen 4 remake. Which makes sense, because the game that came after Ruby and Sapphire was Fire Red and Leaf Green. It wasn't Diamond and Pearl. Which means the next Pokemon game to be remade isn't Black and White. It's technically Heart Gold and Soul Silver. They're the next games to be remade. They're the games that came out after Diamond and Pearl, not Black and White. Simply put, a Johto game should be next looking at the calendar, not a Gen 5 Black and White game. Now personally, I'd prefer an actual full-on remake of Gold and Silver, or even a Pokemon Legends Johto game starring Celebi. But again, if you look at these sales and the release schedule, a Pokemon Let's Go Johto game honestly makes the most sense. Plus, it's still on the Nintendo Switch, so it could have synergy with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Now, even though I'm not a big Let's Go kind of guy, I'd still be excited to see Johto remade with 2024 graphics and see a lot of my favorite Pokemon again. Speaking of Pokemon, who would be on the cover? Keeping it consistent with previous games, we need a cute, marketable first stage Pokemon. Meryl, Pichu, Togepi, and Mareep are the only ones I can see here. But honestly, I don't think any of them are iconic enough to be cover art Pokemon, except maybe Togepi and Pichu. But Pikachu is already on the last one, so would they really do Pichu already? Honestly, I could see them doing Let's Go Celebi, keeping it simple. So a Let's Go announcement does sound the most likely, or it could be a Johto remake that's not Let's Go, but it's definitely not the only possibility. Game Freak has taken left turns in the past and released games against the release pattern, so it could be something else. Maybe it's time for a Gen 5 remake. If Game Freak is busy working on the next Legends game, or Gen 10, I could see a path for ILCA to produce another Pokemon remake in the meantime, like they did with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl in 2021. The games did sell very well, while Game Freak was able to put their time towards other projects. Whether we like it or not, it was a win-win for Nintendo, Game Freak, and the Pokemon Company. But the fan reaction to Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl was pretty bad. Reviews were terrible from critics and fans alike. Would they really double down on this release strategy? When Game Freak remade Gold and Silver for the first time, Heart Gold and Soul Silver were praised as one of the best Pokemon games of all time. Fire Red and Leaf Green were loved, and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, despite having a few haters accusing of having too much water, were still loved by fans overall. But Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl? Nope. Fans did not like this game. So for Pokemon Company and Nintendo to do this again with Black and White, another fan favorite generation, I don't think that's the right move. So if we do get a Gen 5 remake, I'm hoping Game Freak makes it themselves and it's a thorough remake with lots of love and passion put into it, like Heart Gold and Soul Silver, as Unova deserves. I would be down for a 3D remake of Black and White, but honestly, I'd love them to remake the art style of the original with the moving pixels in higher 2024 quality. How would you like your Gen 5 remakes? Comment down below. Then the third option, and in my opinion, the most exciting, and that's a Pokemon Legends game. I loved Pokemon Legends Arceus. I know a lot of other people did too. I think Game Freak could really learn from the criticism they got with the game to perfect the game to make something truly perfect. We could revisit Johto with a Pokemon Legends Celebi game, but I think they will follow the release pattern of Pokemon Legends Arceus. If you remember, Pokemon Legends Arceus and Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl were both revealed on Pokemon Day in February 2021. They went all in on Gen 4. I could see the same thing happening this year with Gen 5. A Gen 5 remake and a Pokemon Legends game accompanying it. A Pokemon Legends Genesect or Victini game where we go to Unova in the past would be really interesting. There's so many different eras of history that they could reference in this game. Of course, Unova is based on New York City. Seeing all the ancestors of all the great Unova characters would be epic, and of course, all the new forms of Pokemon. This to me would be the most exciting by far. Now, there's also some people hoping and praying for a potential fourth option here, having to do with Black and White, and that's Pokemon Black and White 3. Now, to be completely honest, this would be the coolest freaking announcement that they could pull out here. I would scream at the top of my lungs, and the Pokemon community would be happier than ever. With that said, I don't think it's likely. It's giving, just wait guys, Pokemon Z is coming, I swear, vibes. Like, Pokemon Z is never coming. I don't think Pokemon Black and White 3 is coming. But I hope it happens, and I'm manifesting it. So, with Pokemon Day being right around the corner, which game will it be? A Pokemon Let's Go Johto game, a Pokemon Black and White remake, or a Pokemon Legends game based in Unova? I really think it's gonna be one of these three, but I'd be happy to hear what you think it is, and counter me in the comment section below. Subscribe to me for more Pokemon videos, and I'll see you on Pokemon Day. Yeah. Members are so great. Thank you. Thank you to all of my members. You are so great. You are so great. Yeah. Thank you for supporting me and my channel. You are amazing. Go you. Yeah.